I mean, at this point, you can kind of be like, well, like, what are they trying to do here? But like, I love this. All of a sudden, this came out of nowhere. I was like, are you kidding me? Like,
I know.
this is awesome. Like, a little bit of everything. Brent.
How are you, buddy?
I missed you. Like,
I missed
for a
you
week.
too. Give me a hug through the...
Get over here. Get over here. You too, viewers. You too. Huh?
Group hug. Everybody get in on it.
Group hug.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a long time, huh?
I know. Well, we didn't record anything really before we left either. This is it. We're here. We're week to week now. We used to have shows in the can. We got nothing in the can.
Yeah, so we're saying this episode right now that we're doing Tuesday is going to air in 2 days.
It's got to go out.
That's never happened before.
Yeah, so we're
the show.
That's right. So we're scrambling a little bit. Brent caught something on the plane, maybe. So he's hitting the mute button, folks. He's got you in mind.
I'll be making effective use of my mute button over the course of the show. I think I caught something on the plane.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with being in Las Vegas for 5 days at all.
No,
It's
of course
the plane.
not.
Yeah.
No. How was it? Vegas was nice? You don't have to say anything either. You can, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But, hey, if it was a good time, that's all we need to know.
Oh, it was a fantastic time. It was that is quite a place. I'd been there a number of times before. I think this was my 6th time in Las Vegas, but down for a conference, and it was something, man. I'll tell you, good times. So I'll tell you very quickly the story that I told you earlier about the barbershop. So we're at the Cosmopolitan Hotel, and Fleming set this up. So he says, hey, we're going to go to the barbershop. And I'm like, I don't really need a haircut. And he goes, no. So we go to the Cosmopolitan Hotel, and there's a barbershop there, like legit. The guys are, getting their shave and their haircut and everything. And I said, what's the deal? And he goes, check this out. So we go in, and inside the barbershop, around the corner is like this door. It just looks like a janitor closet. And you open it up and you go through, and there's this kind of portal hallway. And at the end, there's a big steel door. And you hit the door, and a latch opens, and you see 2 eyes. And the guy says, how many? And we said 3. There's a guy with us. And the latch closes, and the door opens, and it's like a nightclub.
Look at you.
It was an amazing band, yeah.
Secret hideaway in Vegas in the
Isn't that cool?
barbershop. That's
like a
super
speakeasy.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you got to be crushing pretty sophisticated drinks over there then, right? You can't just walk into those old fashions
all night, unfortunately, the next day. All night long.
Oh,
but the thing is,
killer,
like,
man.
you get lost in it, right? Because it's so idyllic. Like, you're in this bar, it's leather couches, the band is killer, the big light show, the drinks are flying, and you're like, this is Las Vegas, man. Like, it's fantastic. Yeah. And then it's 4 a.m, and you've had like 8 old fashions, and you're in trouble.
You've gone from like figuratively, like, man, like, what am I doing here, to literally saying, what am I doing here?
Like, what am I doing?
Where am I? What's the hell happened here?
But the cool thing is like, I said to the guy, I'm like, how do you get out? And he pointed to the bathroom. And I'm like, really? So you go in the bathroom, and it's a bathroom, and there's a woman. You ever go to a club and there's like a guy with a towel, and you give him a tip?
Easy, Brent. I said what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's okay. Yeah, sorry. The guy that helps you out. Yeah, I got you. So
there's a woman in there in the bathroom, and that's how you get out. So there's a door, and again, it looks like a janitor's closet. You just say, is that and she opens the door, and it just leads into like another area, and you leave, and she closes it and locks it behind you, and you're out. And I turned around and looked at it. It doesn't even look like a door. It's just like this.
Oh my God. Like, why does it need to be so secretive? Is it just part of the whole look? Is it just part of the whole thing?
Yeah, it's like speakeasies back in the 1920s, like when Prohibition happened, were like these little secret areas, right?
Right.
And it's just kind of a take on that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's fun,
I mean, it's a cool exit. I was hoping maybe you'd say like there was like a garbage chute you had to jump down, or there was like a like a bat pole that you had to like
swing down,
slide down, like a fireman, you know.
Yeah.
But that's that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Good times. Good. Yeah.
Nice.
Great band.
Vegas.
Yeah. So tell me about Punta Cana.
Man, I've never felt so at home before.
Oh, really?
In Punta Cana. Yeah, because you know why? I'll tell you why. Just dad bod central.
Oh,
Brent.
is it really?
Just like every day. I've never felt so in my element. I could take my shirt off and we're all walking around with our, we're all, you got the stance. You stand there with your arms on your shoulders watching your kid.
With your hands on your waist.
Yeah, hands on your waist. You just kind of like watching, and you just kind of like, you got a drink in your hand, and and nobody's. Well, then you got the odd man out who is super fit, right. And then we're all the dad bods looking at him like, look at this guy.
He's actually the misfit. He's like the like, get out of here, buddy.
Exactly right. I've never felt. I was like sunburned, overweight, and just part of the family.
That's so great.
It was good, but the kids had a great time. We met all the Nickelodeon characters, SpongeBob, Paw Patrol.
Fun.
Yeah, they had a blast. It was great. It's a great time. Great time with the family. Great time with the family. So,
great.
Yeah, we can't complain. Got out of the country. It was warm. We came back to a shit ton of snow. 2 hours to shovel my driveway. It wasn't great, but it was nice to be home.
Yes. Yeah. No, it was nice to be home, Mm-hmm. Again, Las Vegas, like 4 nights. I was there for 5, but 4 is more than enough. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Good to be back. Oh, it's funny that we were gone at the exact same time.
No kidding. It worked out well.
Yeah.
Worked out well. Nobody had to feel bad about abandoning the show, leaving the other in the lurch, because we would ever, feel that way at any other time. But yeah. No, we were real, man. We were really out there. We weren't pretenders. we were out there doing the real thing.
We
living
weren't
life.
learning to crawl.
We were not. But when you got back, Brent, you were probably crawling. Yeah.
I did a little crawling in Las Vegas, as a matter of fact.
Is this the right place?
Where am I?
Where am I? Oh my God, I'm in the middle of the road.
That happened once or twice.
Yeah, totally. There we go. All right, well, let's do it. We're back with the Pretenders, learning to crawl. Hit me with it.
So this record now puts us in the 80s. Okay. So previously we had done Blondie. We had done going all the way back to Steve Miller. So this is a progression. This is, this album is, I could have done the first one by Pretenders. It's a little bit more, kind of punky. This one sounds a lot better for me. The songs are just as good, if not better. And I think, I thought for you, it would be a more appropriate kind of entry point. But from here, we will go into the 80s and then we'll go into the 90s. With the idea in mind of post-punk, new wave, that whole kind of movement.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. Cool. Sweet. Yeah. Well, yeah, their first album, right, was, I guess, based on what I had read about that, it was pretty good first album. People say it's a pretty good one.
Yes, it was.
I haven't gone back to listen to it.
You'll like it.
Yeah?
I didn't want to. Again, it was a toss-up, right? I thought, like...
Yeah.
It's good, but it sounds very rough. And I just feel like this one is a little bit better by a hair. It's very close, but Learning to Crawl is probably the best bet in terms of what we're doing here.
Right on.
Yeah. But definitely go back and listen to it.
Yeah, I got to go back. After this one, I got to go listen to more Pretenders. I was into this. I was into Learning to Crawl.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to hate this record. Do you know why? Because
no.
I can't remember what our schedule was, but I think we were on a time crunch or something. And you said, I can't do it. We're supposed to do it tonight and I can't. And you said, I just can't muster up the the gumption or whatever you said to like for learning to crawl, and I'm like, oh, he hates the record.
Oh yeah, I see. I can't remember if that was on purpose or if it was just like, oh yeah, the energy for it. Totally. Yeah. No, I just I couldn't put the energy into it. Could put the time, but yeah, no. I mean, it was good album, man. Like this was like great. Really. I'm a new waiver. I think. I didn't think I'd be a new waiver, but I think I'm into it. I think I'm into the genre. I think I'm digging this, man. This is a ton of fun.
See, but isn't that great? So you think about all the records like Talking Heads, Blondie was kind of hit and miss, but like Elvis Costello, right?
Yeah.
This one, like these are really good records, and it's important to talk about this stuff because they're not Led Zeppelin. And they're not Metallica or Iron Maiden, but like this is formative stuff. You go from the 70s to the 80s through punk and into what Duran Duran was and all those other bands. This is the bridge.
Yeah, nice. It's stellar, man. Like great riffs. What's her name? Hind. What's her first name? Chrissy Hind, great voice, great energy, really real Patti Smith vibes when I first heard her as well. Like,
glad you picked up on that,
man. Like I in fact, I almost thought it was. I was like, does Patti Smith front Pretenders? But just good energy, man. Good energy. Her voice is like perfect for the band. It's nice mix of kind of. Not to the Blondie point, right? Blondie was like really kind of like punk-ish but like 60s, 50s.
Yeah.
But this is a nice mix, and I'm thinking about when you go from middle of the road to Back on the Chain Gang, like it's different enough, but it's not one spectrum to the other. So I just think that the way that they made music was really, really well done. Yeah, and great songs and fun. So I'm into this. This is great.
Yeah, I'm so glad.
Yeah,
because I do love this record quite a lot. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And Chrissy Hind is fantastic. It's funny when she used to live in Akron, Ohio, and she moved to London when she was, I can't remember how old she was, but it was in 1973 to get into music or acting or whatever it is, the arts. And so she ended up singing with somebody, and somebody from, I can't remember what the record label was, but they said, okay, well, I kind of like I could tell that there's a star quality there. So I'm going to set you up with a couple of musicians, and we'll record demos. And one of those musicians, believe it or not, was Filthy Animal Taylor from Motorhead. The drummer from Motorhead played on her demo. Isn't that just bizarre?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, there's just like random musicians that this guy pulled together, and he was the drummer. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of like acknowledging the UK scene with the band. And I was kind of like, am I missing something? Is this a British band? I'm like, because like there's songs where she talks almost. And I'm like, there's no British accent here. There's no accent. Like, but really hit it off in the UK first.
Yeah. All the musicians were English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tragic story too. I don't know if do you know anything about any of the band?
Well, I was going to say, before we get into the songs, I think important to talk about leading up to this, the release of the album, what had happened. So I'll let you get into that there for sure.
No, it was just the bass player and the guitar player died, but Pete Farndon was the bass player. He got sacked from the band because he was a heroin addict. And then he was forming his new band, and the guitar player was still in the band, but he died he had a heart attack based on coke intake, I guess. His name was James Honeyman Scott. So yeah. And then after that, the bass player drowned in the bathtub after taking heroin. So it was just like all of a sudden these two guys, like there was 4 people in the Pretenders, and all of a sudden there was just 2.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, it was something like 2 days after they fired Farndon, then the guitar player, can't remember his two-part last name, Jim, was died from a cocaine. I don't know if it's overdose, but definitely intake, and pretty crazy, man. And then they had to go in and bring together some session musicians for the recording of the recording of the album? Because I know a couple of these songs were recorded and released in '82. I think Back on the Chain Gang and My City Was Gone were released in '82. Well, this album was in '84, but had to bring into some session musicians, and then ultimately found a couple other guys to round out the band firmly after that.
One of the guys was from a band called Big Country, if you know that band.
I don't.
Yeah, they had a song called In a Big Country that was huge in, I want to say, 1983.
Okay.
But he had played on this too. So again, it was just a collection of, we got to get this out, so who can we kind of, who can we gather? Yeah.
Crazy, man. And then, of course, so she was also pregnant with Ray Davies from the Kinks. That was who she was pregnant with, and that's where the title of the album kind of came from. Was when they were recording it, her daughter was learning to crawl. Brent.
That's right. She could not come up with a name, and that's what she just named it that, because I didn't know that for a long time, that it was named after her child who was learning to crawl. Yeah.
She went in and she was like pregnant, overweight, and she was, people were looking at her all funny, and it's just like, this is rock and roll. This is what we're doing, So
they got their name as a result of that classic song, "The Great Pretender," by the Platters, because apparently that was one of her former boyfriend's favorite songs. So
interesting. Okay.
That's why they called them something, but it's not The Pretenders; it's Pretenders.
Just Pretenders. Just Pretenders. However, there is an album cover that shows The Pretenders. So,
didn't we look at that together?
We did, off the record, and it was not recorded. But I'll bring them up. But
pop
The Pretenders,
those up.
And then just Pretenders.
I was surprised by that. Maybe that's like some crazy Japanese reissue or something.
Well, I was just kind of confused. It kind of confused me, because I was like, I get it if it's your first album. But this is album number 3 for them. It was
the third one, yeah.
So it's kind of interesting that it wasn't the first one, but anyways, all right. Let's go to the albums. This is the stories leading up to it.
Let's roll
middle
through.
Of the road.
So middle of the road, typical the social commentary, right? Great tune. The harmonica at the end, kind of funny. It's uncredited. So when you look at the liner notes, there's no harmonica credit. But it turns out that it is Chrissie Hynde. She didn't want to be credited for it.
She's ripping the harmonica on this.
Apparently.
Get out of here. That's unreal.
Yep. Yeah, that's her. Cool.
Killer tune. Great kickoff track, man. Like, just, I don't know. I got not much else. I really enjoyed this. It was it got me excited. I was like, okay, this is Pretenders. All right, cool, neat. Like, you got the woo, 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 just like, yeah, all right, let's do this.
Had you heard that song before?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. It's very, very popular.
It is, eh?
Yeah.
I work in the corporate world. We do a lot of stock music usage in our videos, and that ooh is taken and used in a lot of like stock rock, indie rock type music when people are like recreating stock music tunes. Yeah. That's what it reminded me of work.
Oh, wow.
Just for a second, though, and that was like sick. But
there's something a bit tragic about that when the Pretenders remind you of work.
A little bit. But you know what I did too? I love the opening drum reminded me of like "Next to You" by Police.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, just killer stuff.
But again, see, same movement, right?
Right.
Imagine being like, during that time, seeing these bands play at shows, maybe even on the same bill. Like, how cool would that have been?
So good, man.
Great time,
bands.
man. Great time.
Bands of the day, man. So good.
Yep.
And killer guitar solo, man. The guitar soloing, the guitar playing.
Mm-hmm. That was
awesome.
one take. That solo was one take.
Stop.
Yeah, for real.
So good.
Just like that.
Just there's some great hints of different types of music throughout this album. Like some great R&B, some great blues style guitar playing as well. Yep. And just part of this guitar solo is got blues written all over it. It's awesome. Back on the Chain Gang. This was probably just a classic tune from them, eh?
So good. That metal that you hear clanging together in the same way that Judas Priest did it on Metal Gods is like studio equipment, like big heavy weights that they used to hold the boom mics down. So they took them off the floor and like banged them together to
clang them.
Clang.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they did that as a tribute to, I don't know if you've heard, you know who Sam Cooke is.
Yeah.
But Sam Cooke did a song called Chain Gang, and he did the same thing. So there's this clang.
Okay.
So they tried to emulate that.
Killer.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's awesome.
Grunts. Ooh. Oh. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. For this tune too, what they did was they wanted to do like an off the floor performance, right? But Chrissie Hynde always wanted to sing on her own. So they put the band together, like as close as they could be together. And they put like these loudspeakers behind Chambers' drum kit. So everybody was just like feeling the experience. Yeah. Just to try to elevate the performance and the excitement of the performance. And then Chrissie Hynde came in and sang her vocal and then her own backing vocal. But those grunts were the band.
Cool.
Doing a gang vocal. Yeah.
So she wouldn't sing with them while they played?
Her preference was to just kind of do her vocals on her own, apparently.
Come in after, eh? Yeah. Well, she was pregnant, so,
That's right.
whatever suited her needs. Yeah.
Everybody's probably smoking in the studio and...
Yeah, that's right. I mean, let's be real. She was probably smoking in the studio at that time, but no.
I often think about that back then,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more awareness today than there was back in the 70s and 60s, obviously, and early 80s in terms of alcohol and cigarettes and their contribution to, a child's prenatal health.
Totally.
Right?
Totally. We've come a long way. I mean, maybe not a long way, but in some places we've come a long way. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Time the Avenger was cool. This was great. This was like, again, one of those like kind of almost two separate types of songs. Some I feel like there's actually some Steve Miller influences, and we'll get to one of those ideas here too in another song coming up. But just this like kind of cool, funky verse, and then the chorus is like this like Broadway time, hear the bell, right? And you're kind of like, what? Where did this come from? It was so good.
See, when I was thinking about you not liking this record, I was thinking he has to like Time the Avenger, because this song is basically written for Alex Huard. Like it truly is, right? It's just like, do. I knew that you couldn't not like this song.
This is a fantastic tune. Yeah. Love this one, man. Yeah.
That's so
that's
good.
It. That's all I got with it. Yeah.
So like right off the hop, those first three songs are like 1, 2, 3.
Those are awesome. Those are awesome.
Record, right?
It is. And the thing I love about it too, man, is it's like, it's different. We talk about like kind of 1-2 punches and 1-2-3 punches through, it's easy to name drop Van Halen just because I keep listening to them anyways. But, you think about that, but then you think about even Steve Miller had great 1-2, sometimes 1-2-3 punches, but this is like a different type of 1-2-3 punch. It's like, I don't know. It's just like it's a cool 1, 2, 3. It's not like hit you. But they're three really good songs. You know, it's just a bit of a different 1, 2, 3 punch.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah. And it's funny because this record, when you think about it, the first Pretenders record was a lot more kind of emblematic of new wave and post-punk. It was a bit more snotty. It was a bit more kind of bratty. It was a bit more kind of sexually aggressive. And so was Pretenders 2. But then this record, she was pregnant. She had a baby. And so it was almost more kind of maternal and regretful and more kind of sincere, which is interesting. Because the songs tend to be spare in their, there isn't a lot of layers of kind of musicianship here, but she packs a lot of emotion into this record. And I think that's kind of why I went with this one instead of the first one, because there's a little bit more depth and there's a little bit more kind of emotional breadth involved in this record. And to your point, Middle of the Road, Back on the Chain Gang. Back on the Chain Gang was dedicated to James Honeyman Scott, by the way. This was after he died. She had written this song, I think, when she found out that she was pregnant with Ray Davies' baby. And her and James worked it out together, and she was kind of screwed up about it. And so she, when they recorded this, she dedicated it to him. So there was a lot of emotions were running high on this record.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, it's like not only was she pregnant, but they're dealing with the loss of 2 band members, but and not even just 2 band members, but friends, right? Like from being, having played, obviously been playing together way back. And, it's no secret that drugs were playing a big role through the 70s and of course into the 80s. And I mean, it's just, there's a lot going into this album. So yeah. Man. Yeah. It's there. It's all there.
Yeah.
I think they're just watching the clothes.
Apparently this is a really old song. Like predated their first record. It was like one of those songs that was kicking around. I don't, and again, see, I was just talking about her maternal instinct and, there's this kind of, there's even a song about doing the laundry.
Yeah. Watching the clothes around. Yeah.
Yeah. But also I think this is about someone, not the members of the band, but it was somebody who died way before the Pretenders were the Pretenders. It was a friend of hers. And I think it's a reference to a death of an acquaintance she had or a friend she had.
Yeah. That's as much as I know too, but I was going to mention that as well. There's some kind of a correlation between somebody who'd passed as well earlier on, because this is an much older song. I think maybe like 70s she wrote this song or something like that. So fun tune. It's maybe one of the standouts as not like the best on the album, but it's still fun. It still suits. I think it's just a little different.
I think that's well said, just because, I think about the song, I think about relativity, right? You think about Middle of the Road, Back on the Chain Gang, 2 very strong tunes. And then, Time the Avenger is good too, but then this one comes and it's like, it's an okay song, but, compared to the previous 3, it's a bit of a, it's kind of a bitter pill to swallow sometimes when you put the record on.
A little bit, but it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun in its own right, not like. Yeah, that's what it is. It is what it is, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
Show Me is next.
Show Me
is almost an updated version of a song called Kid that appeared on their first record. Apparently it's a song about a mother and her newborn child. So again, that reverse from kind of sexually aggressive rock into kind of, the newness of motherhood and the wonderment of it and that sort of thing. Not
totally,
a bad tune.
Right? Like Show Me the Human Race, right? Like it's just kind of this more, I don't know much of their music or what she was writing about beforehand, but definitely feels a little bit more like, like worldly, a little bit more of experiencing more than just, experiencing the world with, like you said, like maternally and with your child, maybe something like that. So, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And a nice kind of chill song after that. And this is one of the songs that reminded me a little bit of Steve Miller and the way that he moved his voice. It's something like in Serenade, we're lost in space. We're lost in space and life. So I was like, this is like a little, I don't know if it's purposeful, but either way, it's just the way she moved her voice in this one. It just feels very, very real and cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Thumbelina.
It's just like Johnny Cash right here, man.
So, like country rock, right?
Killer. Yeah. Like, it's kind of like, I mean, at this point, you can kind of be like, well, like, what are they trying to do here? But, like, I love this. All of a sudden, this came out of nowhere. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is awesome. Like, a little bit of everything.
Right.
Yeah, it's
like Folsom County Prison almost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Big fan of this. Even the way she moves her voice here too, right? Very like country rock type. Yeah. Like she could just do a lot with her voice, man. She could go to a lot of different places. This was really cool to see what she could do.
Oh, for sure. A lot of talent. And still, you know what? I just saw her on something recently. Did you see this? She was singing with somebody. Where was it? Oh, it was what's his name? Taylor Hawkins tribute. And she sang. No way. She did a number with Dave Grohl and somebody else, and she was good, man. She was not flat. Like she's hitting the note. She was fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Not
a name that like really came up. Like I said, Patti Smith. Debbie Harry. I get it, but even Joan Jett. I just never. Chrissie Hynde never. Not a name that I ever heard or knew about. Yeah. Yeah, no, she was always on my radar just because she was a very strong. Later on too, she was activistic in terms of like, environmentalism and stuff like that. You can hear a little bit of that on this record, but very strong female voice, very very strong. Oh yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, My City Was Gone. Amazing bass line in this tune. Right? Yeah. Apparently this is like the bass player's warm-up. Like he would just like warm up with this. His name was Tony Butler. He was the guy who played on in a Big Country by Big Country. Okay. And he would just like Slash and Sweet Child of Mine. He would use this little lick to warm his fingers up. Do 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 do. Right? And somebody said, "Hey man, that's kind of cool. You should do something with that." And he's like, "Oh, I just have been using it for years just to warm up." And that's where the song came from. So friggin' cool. So funky, right? Another warm up story. I love it. Just little these little riffs that guys use to warm up. So perfect. Yep. Yeah. It is great. And then the way they bring the guitar in, jam over top of it is awesome. And again, Chrissie Hynde just knows how to sing to a song like this. It's wicked. Yeah. And I think this was the beginnings of the environmentalism because she, as I said, she grew up in Akron, moved to London, and when she came back, she wrote the song because the kind of countryside that she had enjoyed as a kid was gone. It was parking lots and skyscrapers and development. Basically, look out your window, folks, and you'll see anywhere around you in which you lived is completely turning to stone. It's true. Right. Like it's all changing. Glass and stone. Glass and stone. Yep. No thanks to Doug Ford, we'll get rid of our green belt altogether. What do you say? Huh? Sorry. Thin line between love and hate. Cover song. It makes sense once I found out about it, but I listened to this album for like 2 weeks before realizing that this was a cover song, and I was like, wow, these guys, they really know how to write a great R&B song. Like, this is perfect. This reminds me of, like, you know, Martha and the Vandella. Like this is
Right.
so good. Yeah. And
this is
turns out it wasn't theirs.
That's so funny. You're like, wow. But
Still good though.
Oh,
because her voice again, it sounds like, you know,
totally.
You friggin' like Aretha Franklin or something. You know, it's perfect.
Very, very soulful.
Mm-hmm.
This was the Persuaders, 1971, I believe.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like
Persuaders.
that's right. Jesus, my throat is so screwed.
Marlboro. Good.
Yeah. Well, not the actual, but just like in the air.
In the air. Sure. Right. What happens in Vegas? It's fine.
You know what? I have no interest in smoking whatsoever, and it's funny because I think I, like you, I drank I smoked when I drank, and didn't like if it wasn't the weekend, I didn't smoke at all.
But you drink every day? Is that it? You only smoke when you drink, but you drink every day?
That's right. Yeah, it's like that old saying, I don't drink anymore. I don't drink any less either.
That's a good one.
You know what my favorite one of those is, though? This is funny. I didn't know Alex was an alcoholic until he came into work one day sober.
That's me, folks. That's good. My grandfather had one. Sir, what are you doing? You're going the wrong way on a one-way street. Well, I'm only going one way. Yeah.
There's so many of those old man sayings.
Okay,
I
good.
love them.
Sorry.
Anyway, Persuaders 1971. What were we talking about? My throat. What's the next
you were
song?
going to go on about it.
What's the next song on the record?
Well, yeah.
I Hurt You. It's a great deep track. This is a great deep track. This is never single. Do you like this tune?
I like the contrast between Thin Line and how this one starts out. I like when Thin Line kind of just like peters out, and then all of a sudden this hits you. It's okay. It's not. I'm not a big fan of I Hurt You.
I like it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that, you know, when you listen to this record, middle of the road, all the obvious huge, like colossal hits, right? This is also one of those songs that's really, really good, but not many people know it. But yeah.
It's
the
okay.
Next one,
it's
2,000 Miles, a lot of people know. Do you know
classic
why?
Christmas tune.
There you go. It's a Christmas song.
Classic Christmas tune.
Funny, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't really intended to be like a Christmas song, apparently.
No, correct. Yeah, no, that's for sure. I heard it and I was like, why do I associate this with Christmas time? Like, why do I associate this with like putting the Christmas tree up? And then I was like, oh, because it's on every Christmas playlist,
Right.
for some reason.
Yeah.
So great, really good tune. I was gonna say it's a great tune. I don't know if I would say it's a great tune, but it's a really good tune. And I feel like I almost have more respect for it now, because when I heard it on the Christmas playlist, I was kind of like, not this song. But now, after having listened to this album and listening to it as part of this, I'm like, I really do like this song, and I'm gonna be okay when the song comes on at Christmas time.
See how listening to albums changes your perspective of individual songs?
Yeah, totally.
I love that you just said that. That is so bang on true. When you listen to an album, you reconsider the song that you've previously heard, you know, because you hear it in its kind of song family almost, right?
Yeah.
And it has a different identity.
Yeah, you kind of build that appreciation. Like in this respect, right? It's the very end of the album. I've built a kind of a relationship with them. I've built this, like, I really like what they're doing here, and the song follows it up at the end. So, you know, it'd be interesting. I don't know how I'd feel if this kicked off the album. You know?
I don't think it could. I don't think anybody in their right mind would start a record with this song.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like I think because of where it lands, right? It's allowed me to listen and like really love the Pretenders and really get into their music. So once it hit at the end, it's kind of like, okay, I'm into this now, you know. But again, not that they would start it, but if it started, I might be like, this song, yeah,
Change the record.
That's right, right? I'm like, oh, this song, right? Christmas time. It's not Christmas, but yeah.
That's it.
Very little upsets me about this album. So I think this is an easy 5 out of 5 for me.
A 5 out of 5.
Yeah,
You're the king. That's so awesome.
yeah.
See, I just went all the way. I went all the way across the board with this because I thought like he's gonna hate this record. This is gonna be like a low energy show.
I don't know if it makes much sense though, like based on my other ratings. That's why I feel like ratings don't matter, people. So
They
please
don't.
just keep that. Please just keep that in mind. But based on my feeling, I'm like, this is a killer album. 5 out of 5. Love it.
All of those things have to be independent of each other. You know, we talked about this I think like 20 shows ago where we said, well, because if it's sheer heart attack, 5,
Yeah.
you can't really give something like 4 or 4 or 5. You know what I
Right.
mean? Just based on the rest, but there doesn't have to be any rationale. Like
No.
every album should be considered in its own right,
Correct.
irrespective of anything else that we've talked about.
Easily. Yeah, totally. It's good, man.
Good
It's
man.
a good
5 out
album.
of 5. That's awesome.
5 out of 5.
So that concludes our journey through new wave and post-punk rock. Now, there were a couple albums that we
Okay.
missed. So we didn't do any Ramones. I don't know if you want to do any of that.
I've been listening to them on my own, actually. So
Yeah. So you know Ramones anyway, right?
yeah.
So now we're going to go into the 80s. And I think that a good album to do now, just based on, you know, what we've been talking about this highway, this bridge, and based on post-punk and 80s and how 80s kind of just like blew everything up, right? Everything was brighter and bigger and badder.
Okay.
Billy Idol's Rebel Yell,
Okay.
an old
Billy
punker
Idol,
from
eh?
Generation X.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah. So this is going to be our intro to the 80s. We're going to do a couple 80s records, and then we're going to keep moving. But let's start with this one.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Same feeling I had when I heard go listen to the Cars and go listen to Talking Heads. I'm like, okay, Billy Idol. Let's see here. Let's see what's going to happen. But I'm excited. I'm excited to get into it again because I don't know anything other than, I think, Rebel Yell and White Wedding. So those are the only Billy Idol songs I know.
White Wedding's not on that record. Rebel Yell is. But there's a bunch of other tunes. This will surprise you in the same way that Talking Heads did.
Oh, good. Okay, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Would I steer you wrong?
Hold you do that. Well, you did
Don't
make
answer that.
me listen.
You don't have to answer that.
Copy that. Sorry, it was a rhetorical question. Missed it. I missed that. Cool. We're just getting on the same page again here, people. Cool. All right, man. Billy Idol's Rebel Yell. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Good, man. Well, hey, good to see you. Good to be back.
Good to see you, my brother.
Good to see you folks in the chat. And, yeah.
Cheers to you and those like you.
Might have already had too much to drink. It's Tuesday. Frig, what am I doing?
You may as well just drink out of the bottle at this point.
What am I doing here?
Where am I?
Where am
Why am I crawling?
Who am I?